Welcome to the Visionary Voice Podcast. Welcome to our very first episode. I'm Crystal.
And I'm Rashaud. We're thrilled to have you to join us as we embark on this journey together.
Today's episode is all about thinking bigger.
That's right, thinking bigger.
We'll be sharing who we are and what inspired us to start this podcast and why thinking bigger is so important to us.
To kick things off, let's dive into 4 questions that's going to guide our conversation. You ready? So hold on, wait. Before we jump into these questions, you know what we got to do, right? We got to introduce ourselves.
Of course.
Who are we?
We
What
are the
Lows.
Lowe.
Yes, sir.
We are the Lows, and I'm Crystal Lowe.
I'm Rashaud Lowe, also known as Mr. Lowe. I ain't going to give you the last part, but you know. They'll find that out.
So excited that we are kicking off our first episode. How do you feel?
Oh man, I'm excited to be here. You know, it's as we dive into these questions. I'm gonna say this right now, but as we dive into the questions, you'll find out how we got here. But it's a dream. It's a dream come true. To be honest with you, you know, come a long way. So. You know, let's not waste the people's time. You know, before we start,
we're not wasting time. We're building up who we are.
Okay.
So, a little bit about us.
Let's introduce ourselves.
For 3 years.
3 years, man. Clap it up for us.
4. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So God is great.
Big 4.
God has a special way of bringing things together, and even you have to trust his plan. So, we do have 2 beautiful kids, and we reside in the beautiful sunshine state of Florida.
Yes, sir. South Florida, baby. Beautiful down here.
So I'm so excited for today, and another thing I do want to address is that a lot of times you will feel like God will call you to start something, and then you try to tackle that thing, but sometimes it's not for right now.
Right.
I remember coming to my husband and telling him I would like to do a podcast with him when we first got married, and he was so against it. And
we're going to dive more into that.
I felt like, oh my gosh, this could definitely be something. But God knows it wasn't time yet.
Come on now.
So it was a lot of growing and pruning and even self-developing we both have to do in order to sit here today to bring you this first episode called Think Bigger. And I think we're going to definitely have a good conversation.
Oh man,
today.
I'm excited. I'm ready to talk to him?
Yeah. All right. So let's jump right into these questions. The first question, babe, is what does thinking bigger mean to you?
Man, when I think about thinking bigger, I believe that thinking bigger is looking past what you see. I believe it takes also faith to look bigger, to think bigger. I'm sorry. And when you look at what faith is the substance of things hoped for. And when you don't see it, when it's not in front of you, so
the evidence of not seeing.
I'm just giving you my summed up version, but I believe that it takes faith to think bigger, and to think bigger, you got to think outside of the norm. Sometimes you may come from a certain class, or you may come from a certain background, or you may come from a certain path of life, and when you think about thinking bigger, it's kind of probably scares you, but I think that thinking bigger is just simply thinking past what you see and having the courage to go after it.
That's great.
What do you think, baby? What you thinking?
I definitely think expanding your mindset, understanding that you have to push yourself beyond the limitations of life, because if you allow yourself to just steady focus on what you see in the natural, and just even right now in this moment of life.
Right.
If you don't expand your mindset and really shift your mindset,
Right.
that's really what it is.
Come on now.
Shifting your mindset, not to conforming to your environment, or even if your environment is not toxic, right? But conforming to the state of, I'm currently in this season, and I just think this is all I'm going to achieve in life. If you continually stay stagnant in that mindset, you will never be able to think bigger. You will always be boxed in, and then you'll live in this cycle of life of, I wish I could have, or I wish I did this, or what if I did this, you know, like really trying to replay how your life could have been. But it's really just shifting your mindset, pushing past the limitations, and understand, even if it's uncomfortable, I'm going to show up.
And it is you connected that because it's pushing past what you see to achieve the unachievable. It's like an invisible goal you have, but to make that goal visible, you gotta go after it. You gotta put it into plan. You gotta go, and that's just what thinking bigger is. You know, it's really just being saying, I know what, I'm not settling.
Yeah.
And my we're going too deep, but let's get
No. Don't tell yourself that. We're not going. We are going deep
because the questions lead into that. That's why I don't want.
No. Allow it to flow, because that right there, you're already going to put limitation on you. This is a think bigger episode.
So basically, what I was getting ready to say was, if your family doesn't come from that, or if your parents never achieved it, and you have a dream to achieve it, but you don't have the resources, you don't have the connections, you don't even have the knowledge, but it's a dream inside of you, that means you're the chosen one to go and do that thing that you're thinking about. And so I want to speak to you right now that you may have a dream. You may have a goal. There may be a vision that you had. I don't care what it is. You probably want to be an architect, an artist, a musician, a basketball player, a football player, a movie director. The sky is the limit. Whatever you want to be, you have to see it before you see it. That's what thinking bigger is. Seeing it before you see it. Because when you see it before you see it, you take action on it. It puts you in the driver's seat and say, you know what? I gotta do something about this.
And it's understanding that no matter what, I gotta be relentless. I gotta persevere.
And that's what the Visionary Voice podcast is all about. We're here
being relentless and persevere.
Come on now. Perseverance and relentless. That's why we're here. So, you know, let's just continue. You know?
And once you really understand that no matter what season you're in, you're able to fully show up. So that leads us into our second question, which is, how can one overcome the fear of thinking bigger and stepping out of the comfort zone? So I would say overcoming fear requires, once again, a shift of perspective.
That's good.
And even embracing the unknown. So I'm going to break it down in two parts. Shift of perspective is like, for example, you can come from a family of poverty, or as you can, for example, nobody in your family has accumulated just continuously creating a lifestyle for generational wealth to flow, right? And then you're constantly around just this certain environment that it's not benefiting you. It's not pouring into you. It's not pushing you. So you're forced, right? Especially as a child, you're forced to sometimes just take it for what it is, you know? But I think even in that, as a young age, I remember growing up, I saw a lot of things that I didn't like. And I said to myself, I didn't know what I was saying, but I always told my mother, I'm going to be a boss.
Come on now.
I'm going to be, and then when I finally understand what a boss was, I corrected and said, I'm going to be an entrepreneur.
Wow.
And I used to always say, I'm going to be successful. I'm going to be successful. I'm going to be successful.
So wait a minute. You knew from an early age on that there's something inside of me that's pushing me to overcome this fear to become that?
Yeah, because
but hold on. The thing is, you didn't know. So I want to slow down.
Yeah.
And walk. So you said when you was younger, no one came to you and told you this.
No.
You knew.
Yeah, I knew.
And I told y'all.
Yeah.
So when you have that dream, that vision inside of you, that means you're chosen. So you knew you were chosen.
But I didn't really knew I was chosen yet.
Right.
But it's crazy because God is funny, right?
Come on.
I remember growing up and I was so like infatuated with looking at the Vogue magazines and
we're getting somewhere now.
Just looking at them. I literally was like 7 years old.
And no one's coming to tell you this?
No. And I remember, if you remember back then, they used to have the fashion runways air on TV.
It was live on TV at the time.
Yeah, you know, and I used to be sitting front row in the living room watching this stuff. Yeah, right. Like for real. And my mother would not even say that. She would just leave me alone. I used to be so obsessed with just seeing these things. And I was like, I want these things.
Wow.
Now, granted, my mom and she provided a very decent life for us, you know, the best way she can. But I did grow up to see her struggle. You know, I did grow up seeing some hardships. And I remember it was times where she just was like, I just can't catch a break. So
you basically, which in this quote, it says you basically were stepping out of your comfort zone and embracing the unknown at an early age.
So before I tap into that, how I correlated to shifting my perspective as a young age, I didn't know I wanted to fully be an entrepreneur. Right. But I know I was kind of low-key prophesying this in the future, that I was going to be an entrepreneur. I just know I had a desire, but I didn't fully understand it.
This is good.
And I guess really as I grow up, I started to realize I don't like this, I don't like this, I don't like the fact that, you know, my mom is still working and certain things, and I'm determined to shift this narrative. It was growing up saying, even now in this season of my life, saying that eventually I will still be able to retire my mom.
Come on now.
Still be able to shift my mind to say, no matter what, that desire is in me. So if it's in me, I'm going to go after it. I could have conformed to the area that I grew up in. I could have conformed to wanting the fast life. I could have conformed to, you know, doing certain things. Or just say I'm going to build any type of business just to make some money. I could have did that. But even when I try to do certain things as far as build certain business and even try to go out and feel like I'm going to work this type of job, God always snatched me up and let me know, no, I called you to be an entrepreneur.
Come on now.
Even if the journey takes a long time, even if you feel like, God, you called me to this, but ain't nothing shaking, you're going to see why I need you to obey.
So pretty much you had to trust that every step forward brought you closer to your vision.
Yes. And it all started with shifting my perspective, knowing that whatever season I walk in, this is who God is calling me to be. Wow. And even tapping into the unknown as far as saying, you know what, this is very uncomfortable and I'm not seeing it manifesting right now. But it's staying rooted in God, knowing that he constantly keeps his promise. The promise may not be for right now.
Wow.
I tried to start podcasts before. I tried to do a business before. And granted, it just didn't go.
But time.
But for this moment right here, lets me know that even though, God, I don't know what you're doing fully, but I know you called me and my husband here. So for that, I'm going to obey.
Amen. Amen.
So what about you?
Oh, man, what about me? You know, overcoming fear has been one of my life's journey. You know, I think I was birthed to overcome that fear. You know, because I believe that a strain of fear is in my bloodline, and you know, my people are not from here. My people, as we recently found out, are people from West Africa. You know, and so that dates. We journeyed from West Africa to Guyana, and then from Guyana we ended up here in America. So somewhere along the line, I want to say when they got to Guyana, the lineage got to Guyana, I believe that's when a little bit of fear trickled down. They knew they wanted a better life, which is how we ended up here in America, but I believe that there's a spirit of fear that led them out of Guyana into America at the same time too. And so with what I'm here, the way I overcome it is, you know, I use my faith to fight. And the way that I use my faith is, I believe that although I don't understand or don't see it or don't know how to do it, God, you're going to lead me there. And you're going to give me everything I need to accomplish it. And to be quite honest, if we want to be real, this whole podcast was not in the plans for me. It wasn't.
Talk about it.
You know, because...
Let's talk about it.
We're going to talk about it. So, you know, when it comes to doing things or stepping out of faith, my faith was if it's a physical structure or if it's something that you can do physically or structure, that's all me, because I'm a hands-on person. I can do anything hands-on. But when my wife came to me with this idea, the first time when we first got married, she was like, "Hey, you think we should start a pod?" I'm like, "No, I ain't. You moving way too fast. Hold on, slow down. We yeah, and that, because that's not me. That's not who I am. Now, if you're talking about sitting down and creating a physical business or structuring the idea to a concept, we can do that, and I can hash it out with you, and I can have it from A to Z. We have it all mapped out for you. But when it came to actually getting on the camera and filming, I couldn't do that because I was so fearful of seeing myself on the camera. Yeah, like I had a fear about this. That so as time went on, it was when the Lord had spoke to me and said, "Son, it's time." I said, "What is the time for?" He said, "It's time, because I'm about to reveal you."
Come on now.
I'm about to reveal you.
He about to what? Reveal you.
And I think I'm about to start prophesying, but he said, it's time. Yeah. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm not, you know, me and these things don't mix. I'm a laid back guy. I don't do all that. Oh, yes, you gonna do all of it because I'm calling you to do it. Yeah. If my name is on it, you gonna do it, and it's going to prosper. And so that's how I ended up right here, right now, in this very moment on the Visionary Voice podcast, because my father let me know that I called you to this. Yeah. And he let me know that that the fear that you have is not of me. I don't give you fear. I give you peace, love, and a sound mind. So that fear you got, it ain't for me. And let me tell you, this is a word to you, that the fear you have to start or even chase that dream you have, that vision, it is not from God. It is not from God. So we rebuke that fear right now. We rebuke it. We call it out. And let this be the day that you say, no longer will I live in fear, but I will walk by faith and not by sight. Yeah. I will not walk by faith. I will not walk by fear, but I will walk by faith. Walking by faith. Us starting this podcast is us walking by faith. Yes. We're walking on a word right now.
Yes. So we're going to jump to our final question. And it says, think of an example of a time that thinking bigger led to a breakthrough in your life. So I'm going to hop right in. I think for me, is stepping out in faith. And stepping out in faith creates you to step out in the uncomfortable, and knowing that the uncomfortable creates growth. You know, doing this podcast too, I had so many doubts, so many insecurities, but I constantly told myself there is a burning desire that we have to show up. Because it's not just showing up for us, it's showing up for the people that's tied to this. The people that it's going to impact, the lives that it's going to impact, the conversations that's needed. So understanding what a true visionary is, know that God will give you this vision as he breathes on you. That vision comes alive when you're able to speak it out and it manifests. And he breathes on the vision. That will make you a true visionary.
Okay.
So I'm just excited that we was able to have this conversation.
I'm excited too. I'm excited too. You know, I believe that being a true vision is all about seeing possibilities where others see limitations. It's the drive and focus on bringing your vision to life despite challenges, you know?
Yes.
So, you know, I'm glad that we had this amazing conversation tonight. And, you know, I hope that you all got something out of it. Please let us know in the comments. So what you think, what are your thoughts on becoming a true visionary? And please don't hesitate to share your comments. Please also like, comment, and subscribe, and make sure to tune into the next episode.
And know that whatever season you may be in your life, understanding that you are called to be a visionary. So feel free to like, subscribe, and comment and share.
And we'll see you all see on the next side.
And drop it in the chat of what you'll like to overcome.
Come on,
and what makes you a true visionary.
Yes, sir. We can't wait to see you all next week. We love you all. Please share this with another one of your family members, co-workers, whatever. And we can't wait to see you all next week. We love you all. Stay tuned. Bye-bye.